nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is Secret America, where media meets truth.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America?
Buckle up. As always, it's about to get real. Your Secret America hosts, Jack Danger and Jay Gatling.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger along with Jay Gatling, and it looks like X is finally working again. And yeah, even Deborah said, hello, everyone. Wow, my stream worked. Yes, the stream is actually on X now, so people can actually go to X and actually watch the show for a change, if you will. I mean, it's been terrible lately, Jay. But I mean, I'm kind of excited that X is back. What do you think?
Oh, I'm psyched. I was doing that. I went as soon as you started the show. I looked and I'm like, oh, it's there. So I reposted it. I got it back out there. All right, here we go. We're back, baby. We're back.
Hell yeah, we are. Did you screenshot the views?
Yeah, on the other, yes, on we're good on Rumble.
Excellent.
Good. Yes,
that's
sir.
all I needed to know, man, because we are doing now. We're back on X, so we're good. All right, let's get it going, my man. So the first thing that we have got to talk about, and we've got some amazing news, okay? Something incredible, okay? And it's about Russia, and it's going to blow your mind, okay? We're going to talk about that in a little while. But first, we got some things that I want to talk about that has to do with something that is massive, okay? Declassified CIA files have revealed a chilling blueprint to manipulate Americans' minds through covert drugging of vaccines. They take the vaccines, put the drugs in them, and then drug you with them. That is what is happening. And even Representative Anna Paulina Luna, even she said that I think our next task force hearing will be on MK Ultra, because that's what this is. MK Ultra is when they drugged you to try to turn you into a mindless zombie where you would do exactly what they wanted you to do. But that is what is happening right now, Jay. It seems like MK Ultra never ended. Just like we always said, MK Ultra never ended. Operation Mockingbird never ended. These things don't end. Project Artichoke never ended. They make you think that they ended. The report, which was added to the CIA's reading room in 2025, details the government's once top secret Project Artichoke that ran from 1951 to 1956. Okay, focusing on behavioral control, interrogation techniques, and psychological manipulation. I mean, it's talking about how drugs are designed for immediate effects like truth serums and long-term influence, potentially administered through food, water, alcohol, and cigarettes. But get this, researchers also suggested that substances could be disguised in medical treatments, such as vaccines and injections. Jay, this is what was declassified today. What do you think about this?
Not surprised at all. Shocked, not surprised. Surprised, not shocked. I don't know, Jack. When you hear this stuff, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But then you say, yeah, I believe it. Because I had a call a pharmacy today. And what's the first thing that comes on the recording? Make sure you have any questions about vaccines, your flu vaccine. They push these vaccines now more than they've ever pushed. And the first vaccine I want looked at is obviously the COVID vaccine. We want that looked at. We want the flu vaccine looked at. And it's also interesting you mentioned food, right? Why now? Didn't the HHS just kind of maybe back off a little on trying to get rid of certain food colorings that's been going around?
That was the report. But then it was kind of pulled back a little bit. First, it was reported that they are going to back off, that the HHS and Robert Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump were going to back off of pulling out of of getting the artificial coloring out of foods. But then that report was disputed, and they said, "Oh no, we're still doing it." So who the hell knows?
who the hell knows? But what all these food colorings and all this other stuff that we don't know what it does. It's been there for a long time, hasn't it? The CIA. It seems like American citizens are just the CIA's guinea pigs. Am I crazy saying that? Or is that kind of accurate at this point?
No, that's exactly what it is. See, the CIA is basically at this point, they are the scientific experimental wing of the government. And we are all the white mice that they use to experiment on unknowingly most of the time. Now, sometimes they do it as disguised as a study. Like at Stanford University, they'll say, hey, come in for this study. We're just going to see what LSD does, if it gives you visions or whatever. But instead, they're actually using it to see what kind of mind control, if LSD can unlock some kind of mind control technique that they can use to kill people or do whatever they want. Like with Sirhan. That guy was under MK Ultra when Robert Kennedy Jr. or when Robert Kennedy was killed in 1968. That guy was under MK Ultra. That's obvious because he had no recollection of that after it happened.
Yeah, well, but then they'll play it off as he's insane, or he right. I mean, that we heard it a million times, and it goes back to my theory about the movies or television shows where no, it's on TV, it's make believe. No, they put it on TV to make it when it happens that you think it's make believe. That can't be real. That can't be real. You're coming up with some television theory. You're coming up with this. That's kind of how this works. And it's always these names, Sirhan. That name always fascinated me, to be quite honest with you, Jack.
Me too. Why they got two of the same name?
I don't know.
What the hell does Sirhan mean in English?
I don't know. Maybe that's a question we could ask Grok. That's a good question. I never thought of it. But I always wondered, Sirhan. I said, why does he have the same name like that? I actually knew somebody, Jack. The name was George. I'm not kidding.
Well, I knew somebody whose name was Miguel Michael, and Miguel is Michael in English. In Spanish, Miguel is Spanish for Michael. So his name was Miguel Michael. His name was Michael, basically.
Yeah, basically. I mean, at least they changed the language, but I remember George. Yes, that is real. That did happen. I knew somebody like that. But Sirhan. I don't know what that means, but make it look it up. But yeah, but that's what they do. They make it seem like these people are crazy. And yes, there are plenty of crazy people out there, legit, who do crazy things. But absolutely, when you're going after heads of state, important people, you got to do a little bit of a deeper dive on those people, don't we?
Absolutely. And I mean, now the things that this is just amazing, though, what has come out with the CIA declassification of documents, because people, I mean, it's another win for conspiracy theorists. Another win, because we had always said that this was the case. This is what was happening. Yet they said, oh, no, that ended back in the 50s, and it wasn't even a mind control thing. They were just experimenting with LSD to see what effects it had on people. No. It was a mind control experiment. MK Ultra, Project Artichoke. Basically the same thing, and it is still going on today. Just like Operation Mockingbird is still going on today. For people that don't know, Operation Mockingbird is where the CIA infiltrates the media to see if the media's propaganda can sway its audience, it's the public. That's what it was. And they did it in newspapers. They did it in print media. They did it in video media. They did it on live media, and they're still doing it today, Jay.
Why would the CIA need to experiment with LSD? Isn't that something that a scientist should be doing to see the effects on it? That's a lie. That's not.
Well, that's what I said. They are basically the scientific experimental wing of the government now, and we are their white mice.
Yeah, but these are like Frankensteins. These are like Dr. Frankensteins to me. These aren't like real like scientists trying to figure out what a drug does to somebody for health reasons or how it's going to affect their brain later in life. No, this is kind of different. This is, like you said, mind control. This is completely different than legitimate, straight up down the middle science, right? That's just how I see it. The CIA, are these medical doctors that work at the CIA, Jack? I don't know, but it doesn't seem to me that they're doing regular medical experiments for the benefit of mankind. Let me put it that way. They're not trying to cure anything.
Absolutely not.
No.
But Jay, guess what? I have been vindicated. Okay. About a year and a half ago, to maybe even 2 years ago, I was on James Clary's radio show, the former co-host. I was on his radio show, and I told the world that a source told me that the government was selling Social Security cards and Social Security numbers to illegals. And I don't mean selling them for money. I mean selling them for votes. You get this social security card number if you'll vote for Joe Biden, and it will allow you to do whatever you want. It'll allow you to do whatever you want if you have a social security number. You can work, you can, play, you can do whatever the hell you want. So check this out. I have been vindicated because this has just come up. Everybody said, oh, there's no way that's happening. That ain't happening. It's not possible. Well, take a look at this. The Biden administration issued over 3.8 million social security numbers to non-citizens. That's 3.8 million votes to sway an election. Democrats don't want voter ID because they want mass amnesty for over 20 million illegals. That is what Representative Anna Paulina Luna said. And get this. So they had in 2021, 270,000 issued to illegals, 590,000 the next year, 964,000 the next year, 2 million the next year. That equals up to 3.8 million votes that is out there. And that's just what they know of. There could be many, many more. But that's why I said this back in 2024. I said this on that radio show. And I said, I have a source that's telling me they are selling these social security numbers and cards for votes. And people thought I was a conspiracy theorist. Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I would never think you were a conspiracy theorist or even thinking of something like that, because it makes a lot of sense for them to do it. The whole thing with ICE and these people going crazy about ICE. Oh, they're ripping people out of car. The Democrats could care less about how anybody might be being treated or not being treated by ICE. It's all to stop people from getting deported because those people are going to vote for them.
Exactly.
If they're here, they're going to vote. If they're not here, they can't vote, right? So that's what it's all about. It has nothing to do with, oh, they're not getting due process. Then they don't even want these people touched. Forget due process. They don't want these people even looked at. They don't want ICE even approaching anybody. They want ICE abolished. We hear it all the time. Eric Swalwell has now come out and said it today. Oh, it's got to go because of the way they're treating people. No, it's not because of the way they're treating people. You just need it to go so that you don't lose votes.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's not, there's people that don't just want to abolish ICE. They want to abolish the entire Department of Homeland Security. We're talking ICE, we're talking the Border Patrol and other things. If we don't have Border Patrol, if we don't have a border, we're not a country. And let me tell you, Jay, you know why they want to abolish ICE? And it's not even just for the votes. They want to abolish DHS for the votes because ICE can, they won't be able to get them out. But they want to abolish the Border Patrol also because what does globalism want, Jay? It wants everything. It wants the globe to be one big country. And if you don't have borders, you're not a country. So if they can take away Border Patrol, they could say, hey, we don't have Border Patrol. We might as well merge with Canada and Mexico. Why don't we merge and become one big world? That is the ultimate goal of these globalists.
Look at the European Union. Right? Look at the
they're the worst.
I mean, you basically can walk across borders in Europe. Can you not?
Yeah.
Right? That's what they would love to have
It's incredible.
all through this continent. They would love that.
Yeah. Oh, they want it everywhere. They want it everywhere.
100% right. And they want the Hunger Games where it's everywhere, but they'll be just fine because they'll be the ones controlling it all. It'll be them and everybody else. And a bunch of city states everywhere. That's what it will be. And city states where they control them. And the most powerful people will control the bigger and more lucrative city states. That's how this is going to work if they get their way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I am going to move on to something else that's very interesting. Okay, the first thing the first thing that I wanted to talk about that was huge for us anyway is Jeffrey Epstein. Something came out that vindicates both of us, that proves what our theory is, that corpse was not Jeffrey Epstein. Would you like to see what it is? Who wants to see what this is? Let's see. Show of hands here. Jay, I don't see your hand. I'm kidding.
My hand's up. My hand is up.
I'm kidding.
I'm ready.
No, so here we go. Check this out, Jay. I want you to see what this says. All right, look at this. The medical examiner who studied Epstein's corpse noted an enlarged prostate, but Epstein's own words and medical records in the released files indicate his prostate had been removed. Take a look at this. Bladder that contains approximately 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the Vero Montanum. Viru Montanum. Wow. The testes are unremarkable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, in medical terms, we know unremarkable means that normal, but it is funny.
I don't. He said his testicles. He said Jeffrey Epstein's testicles are unremarkable.
Well, didn't you hear about the egg, Jack? You didn't hear about Jeffrey Epstein's egg?
What? Wait.
In a deposition in 2009, I believe it was the plaintiff was reading that Jeffrey Epstein has an egg-shaped penis.
Really? Oh,
yes.
God. Could you imagine?
Now, that's pretty remarkable.
Well, not in a good way, but this is hilarious. The testes are unremarkable. I don't care if that's scientific talk for normal.
Oh,
that's funny as shit.
That is funny.
The testes are unremarkable. I love that.
But the bottom line is here that Jeffrey Epstein did not have a prostate.
No,
so
he didn't have a prostate. Take a look at this, okay? This was other medical records right here. This was his deposition, I think, when he said, look, there's LabCorp right there, okay? It says decrease. He had a radical prostatectomy. You see down there at the bottom? That's LabCorp. That is a medical facility that does like drug testing and a whole lot of other urological stuff. But look, it even says, according to the American Urological Association, serum PSA should decrease and remain at undetectable levels after radical prostatectomy. And then he even says right here, you have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? Jeffrey, correct. So guess what? Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a prostate, but the person that was lying on that gurney had an enlarged prostate, Jay. Now, I want everybody to congratulate us. Congratulate us. That is undeniable. We showed you the evidence before that Epstein was not the man on that concrete slab. That was not Epstein. He didn't have the tattoo. He didn't even look like Epstein. He looked more like Anthony Rodham. But this right here proves it without a shadow of a doubt. You can't have a prostatectomy and then have an enlarged prostate. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, and I don't pretend to be one on X or Rumble or anywhere else we're on, Jack. But even I know, and you know, and I don't think you're a doctor either, you can't have an enlarged prostate if you don't have a prostate.
Absolutely.
That's following the science, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. So that tells you right there that cannot be Jeffrey Epstein. And we proved that before that it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein. But this time the medical examiner is actually saying that's not Jeffrey Epstein. The man had an enlarged prostate. Epstein had a prostatectomy. That means they removed the prostate. So there you go right there. The man on that slab, the man that died in that cell was not Jeffrey Epstein. You heard it here first on Secret America. It was not Jeffrey Epstein. This is definitive proof. The tattoo I thought was definitive proof, but this is definitive proof.
Yeah, all that other stuff was kind of the coincidences leading up to the conspiracy in this, right? We had 10 of them, basically.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, that's pretty obvious. Come on, how has that never been brought up before?
Nobody ever looks at that stuff. They try to keep it, they don't realize it because in there, it doesn't say that he had a prostatectomy. This was found by sleuths. Nobody knows that he didn't have a prostate. So when they see that medical examiner report, they think, oh, he had a large prostate, whatever. But if you find out that he doesn't have a prostate, that tells you a lot. Thank you, Raina and Deborah. We do great work here on Secret America.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
that was incredible. We literally just proved that is not Jeffrey Epstein, that the government has been lying to you. Not only has the government been lying to you this whole time, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino lied to you. Okay. And everybody else that said, hey, he killed himself. Hey, that's Jeffrey. They all lied to you.
That's why I think Dan Bongino left. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think that's why he left. I wouldn't be able to stay. I couldn't do it. That's just me. I don't know. We can get into that at some other point. Why he left, why he stayed. I don't know why he took the job to begin with. But in this case, that's why I think he left. It was just too much. It's too much to bear. I hope I'm right.
Then why say all that shit and say, hey, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do shit and then leave less than a year into the job, Jay, less than a fucking year into the job. And then you go on your show and tell everybody else to fuck off because they question you. Oh, yeah, no, fuck off. Fuck you. You're a demon. That's what he said today. What the hell is going on? Every episode now, he takes a good full hour to say fuck you to every single MAGA person that supported him before, but then question why he left so early and did nothing the whole time he was there.
I think, can he actually answer the question, or he just can't answer the question because he's not
Even
allowed
if he
to?
can't answer the question, he's telling everybody that they're pieces of shit, that they're demonic, that they should fuck off. That's half of his podcast show every episode now.
Listen, I have a soft spot for Dan Bongino. You know why?
Yeah.
I wish he would come on our show. Maybe he could say whatever he wants on our show instead of his own. Take a break, take a couple days off.
No, I don't need somebody to come on the show and say fuck you every 5 minutes.
No, let him. He could come on and say that, and I'll hit back at him because I was with him in the NYPD Academy at the same time, Jack, and I won't take it. So let's go. Dan Bongino, you can come on our show. You could say whatever you want. You're welcome here. I would love to hear it. I have questions too. I mean, you were there. I get why you took the job. I understand the mentality that you were coming from. I can understand why you might have been at the point where you said, I can't do this anymore, because I thought maybe I could. And I came up with the whole thing. I said, no, I don't personally know him, PSYOP, but we were in the same academy class. It's a big academy in the NYPD. But what I'm saying is, it was kind of like a relationship. I can change him or I can change her, and at point he's just like, I guess I can't.
Yeah, but then he comes back after all that shit talking. Then he comes back and he tells half of MAGA, half of his listeners. You know how many listeners he's lost because he kept saying "fuck you" or "you're." Today, did you see what I sent you? He said that 3 times in a row. You're a demonic. You're fuck you. Yada yada yada. For every time someone questions anything,
well, that's
what he says. That's his answer to everything. Jay,
was that related to a certain case?
No, that what today's was, yes. But he does it every episode for anything, man. I'm telling you, check it out.
All right.
It's not worth checking out.
I mean, I'll check it out. Maybe maybe I could use some of my street cred to get a conversation with him. I'd love that.
Yeah, well.
I would.
Anyways, how would you like to hear something else crazy about the whole Epstein thing? You know how we have found every possible thing that you can find to do with Epstein. You want to hear something even crazier?
Well, first of all, I don't believe we have found even close to everything that could find. But yeah, of course, I'd love to hear this.
Well, I'm talking about the secrets, man. Oh. We found out that he has hidden files in storage lockers all over America, secret hidden videos and files. We found out that he's not dead. That was not him on the slab. Definitively found that out. We may have also found Ghislaine Maxwell. We have found out so many secrets that it boggles the mind. But I got another secret for you. All right. Did you know Jeffrey Epstein was under a secret DEA investigation for over 5 years and nobody knew about it? He was under an investigation by the DEA for 5 years.
Who buried that one?
Nobody knows, but I can tell you CBS News just found a 69-page DEA memo that was buried in the Epstein files showing he was targeted in a 5-year federal investigation into wire transfers tied to illicit drug and or prostitution activities in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New York. The case opened in 2010, was still active in 2015, and tracked roughly $50 million in suspicious transfers linked to bank accounts in Switzerland, France, the Cayman Islands, and New York. 14 other targets are named in that memo, but they're fully redacted. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, the document, though, reveals multiple previously unknown investigations with Epstein connections, including ICE probes in West Palm Beach, Las Vegas, and Paris, and a separate FBI investigation opened in 2006 that was still active in 2015. The craziest part, the Southern District of New York prosecutors who arrested Epstein in 2019 told CBS that they had no idea the DEA probe even existed. Senator Ron Wyden said it appears Epstein was involved in criminal activity that went way beyond pedophilia and sex trafficking, which makes it even more outrageous that Pam Bondi is sitting on several million unreleased files. You heard it here first, man. He was under DEA investigation for 5 years. Nobody else knows that.
That's crazy. And that's another thing, how long these investigations take. That's what it tells me. 5 years and no conclusion.
FBI investigation was 9 years, 2006, still active in 2015.
Yeah, 9 years, 5 years. And there's way more to Jeffrey Epstein than just the child stuff. Way more. There's stuff probably going back to where we were talking yesterday or the day before about insider trading tips and stuff going on around the 2008 financial collapse and beyond. And beyond. When that's why I think people are starting to get nailed in other countries right now with things that they were told by Jeffrey Epstein that they should never have been told. There's a lot of insider stuff that is private, not no one should be privy to, and they were, and they made a fortune. A lot of people made a fortune because of the stuff Jeffrey Epstein was feeding them, and vice versa too.
By the way, did you know that the House Oversight Committee agreed to let Bill and Hillary Clinton testify virtually from their comfy Chappaqua, whatever, home about their relationship with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? They spent months blowing off subpoenas, and now they get the chat from their couch.
You would get the same treatment, Jack.
You think so? Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think I probably would.
Absolutely. You would be able to blow off the subpoena, and then you'd say, listen, I'd really like to do this in my living room because it's just more comfortable for me there. And by the way, is it really got to be on the oath? I mean, is that next?
Very possibly.
Right? Is that going to be next where it's not going to be on the oath? Again, let's just sit. Let's take a deep breath and understand that we're dealing with Republicans
that do nothing,
who just are weak, who just can't message, who have no teeth, who I think it's intentional. They just want to be some controlled opposition. Oh, we're doing something. No, you're not. You're doing a damn thing. How are they allowed? Was a reason given, Jack, for why they can sit in Chappaqua and give this? Or is there a medical reason? What is it? No reason. Just because we're allowing it?
Nothing that I've seen. No.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's just what drives you nuts. This is what makes people upset and mad and that they don't want to go out and vote. We keep saying, though, all that stuff aside, you have to go out and vote or else communists are going to take over the country. It's that simple. I don't know how much. Listen, you see what's happening tonight at the State of the Union. You have a bunch of Democrats crying and they're not coming. Good. Don't come. Let the hockey team sit in your seats, the men's hockey team, because the women's hockey team turned down the invitation, in case you didn't know, because they had some scheduling conflict or whatever they had. But the men's hockey team flew to Washington today. They'll be at the State of the Union. Let them sit in the seats that the Democrats don't want to sit in because they're upset, because they're crying, because they don't want to hear. These people hate America, but if they don't vote, they're going to take the country over. Just letting you know.
Well, I can tell you that the worst part about this is that the Democrats are not showing up for this thing, right? Yet they're still getting paid for it. But the TSA workers are working hard. They're not getting paid at all because of the government shutdown. So they are not getting paid at all, yet the Democrats won't even show up while they are getting paid. But let me tell you something else, okay? There's a reason that the Democrats are not showing up, and it's not the reason that you think, okay? The reason that they are not showing up, and let me see if I can find it here, because I just had it a moment ago, and it said why they were not showing up. It was actually pretty compelling. What they said. I don't know if I can find it very quickly. But anyways, there was a reason that they weren't showing up, and it had to do with the fact that Donald Trump is going to name wins that he had, or he might do another. They're afraid that Donald Trump it's going to be another instance where he brings like that cancer kid on, and he had the brain cancer, and nobody stood up and nobody clapped. They're worried about that kind of thing. That's why they're not showing up. They're worried about not clapping or standing for his wins and not clapping or standing for some person that's there, like Erica Kirk. She's there, and he's going to, play up on that, and they're not going to stand and clap. That's why they're not showing up, because Erica Kirk. Notice they all started saying, hey, we're not going to show up after it was announced that Erica Kirk was going to be his special guest, because they don't want to stand up and clap for her. They don't want to clap for Charlie Kirk's death because they're happy about it. So they just won't show up. That's the truth.
And then you have Thomas Massie, who's a supposed Republican. He's going to sit on the side that the Democrats are on.
Yep.
In unity because of the Epstein files. Thomas Massie, just become a Democrat already. Just do it. I'd have more respect for you if you just said I'm a Democrat at this point. Because no Democrat, regardless of what unity they wanted to show or what issue they took a stand on, would ever sit on the side of Republicans in front of a Democrat president at the State of the Union. Would not happen. Thomas Massey, you're a disgrace. I can't stand you. I hope you get primaried, and I hope you get embarrassed. That's just me. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about Thomas Massey at this point. You do nothing. You get nothing accomplished. You know why? You don't work well with others. Sometimes you actually have to work with people to kind of get some of what you want. You see, as a mature adult, you kind of have to know that. But, you know, you're this principled guy, and you're full of crap, in my opinion. And that's my rant on Thomas Massey. Sorry to anybody who supports Thomas Massey. That's how I feel. You're more than welcome to support him. I don't.
Well, I mean, you know, he's a strange one. I don't hate or like him. I nothing him, if that makes sense.
I get
because
it.
You know, I don't think about him. You know,
I get it. I think about him when he does stuff like this, Jack. You know,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I think about this. And Ronald Reagan, by the way, is the one who really kind of made a pageantry out of the State of the Union with people up in the gallery and, you know, recognizing Americans for things that they did or things that they went through. And Donald Trump, listen, like him, love him, hate him. He does this kind of theater better than anybody. The man's a born entertainer. He comes from the industry. So he does this very well. And you're right. He's probably going to have, aside from Erica Kirk, he's probably going to have a few people up there with great heartwarming stories that Democrats, just like DJ Daniel, the little boy who wants to be a cop, they couldn't stand up for a kid with brain cancer. Let's see who they can't stand up for tonight. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I do want to say that DHS has confirmed that Democrat congressmen are attempting to bring illegal aliens into Trump's State of the Union. Any Democrats that are actually going to show up are attempting to bring illegal aliens into the State of the Union as guests.
Arrest them. Arrest the illegal aliens. That's it. You're here illegally. You're a lawbreaker.
You should also arrest the congressman, shouldn't you? I mean, they're harboring illegal aliens. They're bringing them. You know, they are aiding and abetting illegal aliens.
Agreed. But it will happen. No,
of course not. Come on now.
Of course not. No, it won't happen. Won't happen. If it was a Republican, it might happen. But if it's a Democrat doing it, we can't do that. We don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to be not invited to cocktail parties. I don't want the media to be mad at me. The media hates you. They hate you. When are you going to realize that? It's insane to me how these people don't get it, that the media hates you. Democrats hate you. They're never going to like you, no matter what you do, no matter how you acquiesce. You're just making it worse. It's blood in the water.
Let me tell you that the media may hate you, but you do not hate the media enough. You want to know how I know that? Because this is the kind of shit that the New York Times puts out. Take a look at this. Yeah. New York Times, pedophilia, a disorder, not a crime. It is a disorder, not a crime. They want to normalize pedophilia. That's the New York Times.
Yeah, Jack, that was from 2014, I believe.
Yep, that tells you exactly. They've been trying to normalize it for a very long time.
Yeah, and I wonder why. Maybe it's a lot of people on Epstein's Island that they want to normalize it for. You know, maybe it's to say, oh, see, it's you know, we can't put them in jail. It's just a sickness. Didn't Mamdani, see, this is their whole mentality. Mamdani, when the guy with the knife went after the cops right in the beginning of his term, and he's mentally ill. Yes, he is. But Mamdani says you can't charge him with a crime. He's mentally ill, even though he tried to stab police officers to death. And the DA in Queens, who I don't think is a Republican, I doubt it. The DA in Queens said, no, we have to follow the law. Yes, he has a mental problem, but he also broke the law and he needs to be treated as such. But it's the same thing, right? We want to take these people who, you know, and decriminalize. They want to decriminalize everything. What is wrong? Think about that. They want to decriminalize everything. And you, everybody watching, listening, you are going to be their fodder. You're out there going to suffer the consequences of these sick, deranged policies. And when everything goes to hell, they're going to lock you down, lock down everything to save you. You understand that? Just like during COVID, it was to save you.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly what it was. You know what I'm trying to find? I'm trying to find Newsom's thing that he said recently. Don't give it away because I want to play the video and then I want to hear what everybody thinks about this. All right. So here's what he said. He was at he was with a black crowd in Georgia. Okay. It was a black crowd in Georgia. And I am going to go ahead and play what he said for you guys. And then I want to hear, give me 1 second, actually. I want to pull something up because there's something interesting that I found that I think you'll enjoy also. Jay.
Yeah.
But apparently Newsom was talking to a black crowd in Georgia, and he said some things that he probably shouldn't have. Okay. He said what he actually thinks of black people. So here's what we're going to do. I want you guys to take a listen to this.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy.
By the way, 960 is a horrible score. He's saying that he's a dumbass.
And, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940.
He just said right there that you guys probably have less than a 960, and 960 is a bad score. He said, I'm a 960 guy. I'm just like you. Keep listening.
But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
So he says right there, he says, I'm like you. I am like you. I'm dumb and I can't read. That's exactly what he said. I'm like you because I'm dumb and I can't read. He said that to the black people in Georgia.
Jack, well, wait a minute. Poor kids are just as talented as the white kids. Remember that one?
This is Gavin Newsom now. New posters. I have a 400 credit score. I'm like you. You see? Now Gavin Newsom is like them. That's what he says.
You remember,
there you have it.
You remember Joe Biden? Poor kids are just as talented as white kids.
Yeah, or you're not black if you don't vote for me. Yeah.
Right. This is the same playbook. He's like you. I'm not
Just
trying
like
to impress you. Oh, no. What you are, and first of all, he's lying. He said, I'm just talking about my dyslexia. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom last May had two people. I don't even know who the hell they are. They wrote a book. And Gavin Newsom brags about how fast he read their book. Now, the book wasn't a Dr. Seuss book. It didn't have pictures. He even says the book had 18 chapters. I looked. The book, Jack, how many pages do you think this book had, Jack?
500.
Gavin, how many?
500.
No, it didn't have 500, but Gavin Newsom read it in less than 3 hours.
I think he's lying about that if you want the truth.
Okay. The book had 260 pages.
But Gavin it's more Newsom, likely. What do you think's more likely? That he read that in 3 hours or that he got a 960 on his SAT and he's not very bright? I think that's more likely.
I think it's more likely, but again, he's lying. He's lying. He's pandering.
Of course.
But why are people clapping? You see the guy, the host, the Stephen A. Smith, Team Stephen A. Smith, right? The Team Stephen A. Smith guy he's with is like, if that was a Republican, resign. He
is making fun of black people. He's calling them stupid.
Yes.
He's saying they're dumb and they can't read.
Right.
And then the crowd's like, we're dumb and we can't read. That's a good one. What?
It's incredible to me. Now, that crowd might be dumb enough to laugh, but a lot of people, black people who watch that aren't dumb, and they get it now. Like, these people, they think we're dumb. Like, I can't go get an ID to vote. It's the same soft bigotry of low expectations. It's the same thing over and over again from these Democrats. And a lot of people have caught on. But people in that audience, I guess, they're paid to laugh or they are just stupid and just don't get the fact that the guy's calling you an idiot. That's what he's doing.
Absolutely, he is. He's calling them an idiot. He's saying they're dumb, they can't read, yada, yada, yada. And they're just laughing. They're laughing it off like, that is so funny. He's crazy. This guy is crazy. That's what they're saying.
And Jack, how about this? Can they stop sitting with their legs crossed like women? Can Democrats?
Yeah, I don't get that either, man. I mean, do they not have penises?
I don't know. No, they probably like Jeffrey Epstein.
Look how he's got it. Look how they've got their legs crossed. Hang on, I'm going to pull this back up for everybody. Look how they've got their legs crossed. Both of them. Do they not have penises? Because when a man crosses his leg, it squishes the penis.
Yeah, right.
They either don't have penises or they're micro, so it doesn't squish them.
I can't. The lack of masculinity, and masculinity actually upsets these people a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why, because they are not masculine. They hate it. It drives them crazy, and that's why they've called it toxic masculinity. No, it's just actually being a man. That's what it is. Being a man is not toxic. In fact, if it wasn't for men, a lot of things don't exist in this world. And that's nothing against women. Women do a lot of great things that men can't do. That's what needs to be recognized. And it also helps when you say there's only men and women. See, we don't need to complicate this. There's two genders. Women do great things. Men do great things. Men are great at things women aren't great at. Women are great at some things that men aren't great at. It's that simple.
All right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Okay, so we're gonna continue with the Epstein thing real quick because there's one more huge thing I want to show you guys. Okay, apparently there are emails out there and files that reveal that a former U.S. ambassador, and I want you guys to take a look at this, a former U.S. ambassador impregnated. His name is excuse me. He's U.S. ambassador to Mexico. His name's Earl Anthony Wayne, and he impregnated an 11-year-old girl. Supposedly, that's what happened. I'm going to share this tab with you. I want you guys to see this email right here, okay? First, it says, just heard about Epstein. Based upon what we have discovered here and who was involved here in Mexico, we don't believe it was suicide. When you have 5 minutes, you need to listen to what we have as evidence. Apparently, they had some evidence that proved that it wasn't suicide, okay? And then, and that was Epstein's nephew, apparently. And it said, my nephew, Logan Turner, was shot and killed in the mass shooting in Daytona, Ohio last evening. Yada, yada, yada. Let me see. All investigative work on Marcinko and Epstein is still in process. We have uncovered more videos and photos of the two of them together in Mexico. And I want you to read a little further. I want you to see some of this stuff. So check this out. It says, we had another serious incident since an American shot the trial judge in our child sex trafficking case here. He and I both think this latest incident is tied to the fact that we reached out to your team. Who on your team knows we are talking to you? Anyone assigned from the NSA, CIA, or U.S. State Department? Please understand people's lives here are in jeopardy. We had 4 armed attacks against us. My partner is shot and killed 2 and wounded 5 American agents to date. Numerous white American agents following us in vans assigned to the U.S. Embassy. Jorge was attacked and lost his arm. The president of Mexico is keenly aware of our case against Marcinko and other U.S. officials, okay? Other U.S. officials. And then it says, this case we have here is most certainly connected to yours. We have the proof. Our case will help bring a whole new dynamic to what you know and who is involved. Prince Philip is a small fry compared to what we have uncovered. You may want to question the ex-U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Mr. Earl Anthony Wayne, about his involvement with an underage girl when he attended and was arrested by federal police. We believe that Marcinko and Epstein were involved organizing this party. It was held in Juarez, Mexico in 2014 at a U.S. consulate-controlled housing facility. Ask him if he knows Marcinko. He was sentenced in Mexico in 2017 to a life sentence for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. Her son's DNA matches the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Wayne's DNA, 100%. But he is allowing an ex-U.S. Marine to stand in his place to serve his sentence in Mexico. That was an agreement worked out between the U.S. State Department and a judge in Mexico after a huge payoff. Did you hear this? Let me tell you what I just read, okay? Apparently, the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Earl Anthony Wayne, apparently he impregnated an 11-year-old girl during a party in Juarez, Mexico that Epstein organized. He impregnated an 11-year-old girl. The child's DNA matches Wayne's, but get this, the U.S. State Department worked out a deal with the judge in Mexico, paid him off to allow an ex-U.S. Marine to stand in his place in prison. That is unbelievable. Did you hear what I just said? They swapped people out in prison for this man. The U.S. State Department paid this judge to allow an ex-U.S. Marine, just a random person, to serve this guy, the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, to serve his sentence for this guy. That is incredible.
Well, so that took a big turn. I sent you that today when I had a minute. I sent you that.
Yeah, and I was able to find the email because you sent me that you sent me that post about that. And then I did some digging inside the Epstein files and I found that was the full email. The full email. It's insane.
That's crazy. Great job. Because if you just look at, if say you put the post that I sent you into Grok or an AI, you're going to get none of that.
No.
You're going to get none of that.
But see, if you hadn't sent me that post, I would have never looked at that. I would have never thought about this. But now, since you sent me that post and I was able to find the emails connected to it, we just proved that the U.S. State Department helped a child molester, a pedophile, the ex-U.S. ambassador to Mexico. They paid off a judge in Mexico to allow them to swap prisoners so a guy could do this guy's time for him. And that guy's probably going to get a huge payoff afterwards. But that's the U.S. State Department protecting a child molester.
See, this runs a lot deeper, and awesome job finding the rest of that. Awesome. Because this runs a lot deeper than just a allegation, because NPR came out today, of course, on the day of the State of the Union with allegations about President Trump. I think one was from 1983, stuff that was in the files. And there's plenty of allegations of a lot of people like that in the Epstein files that are just random calls or completely investigated, but not credible.
This is provable here.
This is different. This is something totally different. This has a whole trail to it. This has a whole, the breadcrumbs lead to a final conclusion here, right? And again, we're saying this is allegedly because we have to, because everybody's so happy, whatever. But it's allegedly. But we have a trail here where there's more than just a phone call or a random tip or something from somebody who says, Donald Trump did this to me in 1985 or whatever. And then it's looked into and there's really nothing. It doesn't lead anywhere because there's nothing there. This is something completely different. And by the way, Jack, we know who appointed this ambassador, do we not?
Who was it? Was it Barack Obama?
That is correct. I believe it was.
When did he start?
Obama.
When did this ambassador start?
I think it was 2011. We could check that right now if you want. I think
we should check it because this arrest occurred. Let me see when this arrest actually occurred. This arrest occurred in 2014, apparently. Mm-hmm. No. He was sentenced in Mexico in 2017. Get this. He was sentenced, like we said, the ex-ambassador to Mexico, Earl Anthony Wayne, was sentenced to a life sentence for impregnating that 11-year-old girl. But then the U.S. State Department pays off the judge and allows them to swap a random person for him to do his time for him. That is just, that should be on every channel in the world.
Well, let's see when he was. Let's just see when was he appointed as the U.S. ambassador to Mexico by?
Did you put that on Grok? Or you want me to do that?
Yeah, if you could do it, bring it up.
All right, I'll do it. Yeah.
Everybody can see it.
All right, let's check it out. We need to see when this actually happened. Okay, so when was, what's his name? Earl Wayne appointed ambassador. That's all. It's probably all we need to put. When was Earl Wayne appointed ambassador? Let's see what Grok has to say. Come on, baby. He was appointed ambassador. Let's see.
Not up yet. Jack, throw it up. I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it? Okay, hang on.
Yep.
Oh, we're on the wrong. Okay, I got you. All right, so here. Check this out, though. He was actually appointed ambassador to something else first. Look at this. He was appointed to ambassador of Argentina in 2006. Argentina by George Bush. Then he was appointed Mexico by Barack Obama. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And listen to this. In 2011, he was appointed a career ambassador. That is the highest rank in the U.S. Foreign Service, but it's not a specific country ambassadorship. It's just a way that you get diplomatic status everywhere and free money for the rest of your life.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty good gig.
Yeah. But how incredible is that? That is something that secret America just found that probably nobody else in the world knows at this point. That this man was swapped out by the U.S. State Department, a child molester, a pedophile that impregnated an 11-year-old girl in Mexico, was sentenced to life in 2017. The U.S. State Department made a deal with the Mexican judge, paid him off, and swapped him with another American to do his time for him so this guy could get out of prison. That is unbelievable.
Crazy. Again, crazy. But are you like, oh my God, shocked? Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah, for that particular thing, that's pretty damn shocking.
That is shocking. But it's shocking, and you say, but I freaking believe that they would do that.
Yeah,
I totally believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
it too. That's the
And
sad
especially
thing.
this guy. This guy was a lifer. It looked like George Bush. I mean, you want to talk
Yeah.
about, the Bush administration, and I bet he might go back further than that even. Who knows? But maybe he's got a longer career than that. Before he was an ambassador, he's probably involved with all these families forever since he was a kid. That's what I'm talking about. We talk about all the time how Bill Clinton has photos with President John F. Kennedy, right, when he was a little boy.
Mhm.
I mean, that's how these people, they never get out of the circle. Oh, no, Jack, you know what? We have to do it. You have to do it. I don't know.
No,
if it's gonna no, they have to do
we
it.
got. We only
now.
got 10 minutes left. We need to
I
talk
know.
about the things that were on our stuff. The
I know, but
cartels.
one thing, Jack. One thing. Can we please do it? Can you please see if that guy is related to Lackland,
Who?
the ambassador?
Well, we've only got 10 minutes left.
I gotta know.
All right, tell you what. Let me try real quick. I will look real quick.
But I'm not saying he is, but we all. I just have to do it real quick. Is he related to John the King Lackland? Is he part of that bloodline? Not. I'm gonna.
Let's take a look.
Oh God.
No, he is not.
Damn
he
it.
is not related to him.
All right.
Now, real quick, we got to talk about the cartels. We only got a few minutes left. I want you guys to take a look at this video. Take a look at this right here. What does that look like to you? That looks like special forces for Mexican police, right?
Yeah.
This is the cartel. That is the cartel. They have police armored vehicles, and then they have special forces gear. Look at that. This is the cartel.
They even have police lights.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll pull people over that think they're police, and then they kill them. Look, see that right
symbols. There? Yeah, they have
Look
logos.
at the name. Yeah, look at the name right there. CJNG. That stands for the Cartel of Juarez New Generation, or Cartel of Jalisco New Generation. That's what that stands for.
Yeah, they got emblems even
on the police cars. So look at this. That's the army. This is the cartel that is fighting America right now. Why? America just killed their head, El Mencho. They gave special information to Mexico, who then killed the head of this cartel. What did they do then? What did the cartel do then? They waged war on America, but first they burned down cities like Juarez and all these others. They're forcing Americans to get out of Mexico, and I would not be surprised, Jay, if they start attacking America. You don't have no idea how severe these cartels are. They actually said if you are a border state to Mexico, I would try to move or leave or be very scared at this point, because if you're a border state, you are going to eventually get hit. Okay, there is a lot more than that. I want you to see something else real quick. Take a look at this. There's cartel shit everywhere because they killed El Mencho, which was their head. The head of the. But get this. There are things out there that show that this guy was not just a drug dealer. The reason that he was killed by Trump and the reason that everybody's upset about it is because he was the guy that procured women for Epstein Island, the young girls in Mexico for Epstein Island. Okay. His nickname was, damn, I wish I could remember it, but he was the guy that procured women in Mexico for Epstein. That is what he trafficked these kids. That is what is the rumor around there, that it is not just about the drugs, that he trafficked kids. And that's the reason that they wanted him dead so badly, because he did it, for Epstein. But I want you to take a look at this video. This right here is a Mexican soldier who fought the cartel, right? And he's got a bullet lodged in his face. Look at that. Look at that. That's a shell casing lodged in his face right there. That's not even a bullet. That's a shell casing. And the reason it's lodged in his face because it came at him so hard when it was shot, and shell casings are hot because of the strike. So it hits him right there. Look at that. That's insane. They've been burning cars. They've been killing people. It has been crazy out there. And it's coming to a border state near you, Jay.
Well, I'm not a border state, but it's coming to those people. Listen, good luck if you want to attack Texas. I just say that. And first of all, before it gets to that, what the hell is Scheinbaum doing? We know that she's controlled, right? I mean, is there any question anymore that Scheinbaum, the president of whatever of Mexico, is completely owned by these cartels at this point?
I'm glad you said that, because check this out right here. She said everything in Mexico will get better as soon as guns are under the exclusive control of drug cartels and the government. That's not what she said, but she actually said that she announced a new disarmament program offering cash incentives for citizens to turn in their firearms. Guns are illegal in Mexico unless you're in the government or unless you are in the cartel. And Jay, the cartel is scary as hell. This is no joke. If they come into Texas, if they come into Arizona, California, New Mexico, Louisiana, if they come into these places, they hang people from bridges. They chop off your heads and put them on spikes. They allow dogs to attack people and eat them. They burn them alive. There is a thing called a tire necklace. They put a wooden stake in the ground, tie you to the wooden stake, put a tire around your neck, douse it with gasoline, and set you on fire. That tire melted to your skin while you burn alive for a good 60 seconds. You are alive for a good 60 seconds while that is happening. And you think 60 seconds is not a long time? Try taking a lighter, put it to your finger, count to 60, and then think that's over your entire body for 60 seconds. The cartel is scary as hell. Make no mistake, this is no joke.
You won't get to 6. Try counting to 6. It won't happen on your finger to your thumb. This isn't
That's
Mr.
over your
Joshua.
whole body. Imagine.
This isn't Mr. Joshua and Lethal Weapon. With the light. Yeah, try that. You're not going to like it very much.
This is no joke.
But Jack, I'm looking at those military vehicles with the police lights and everything.
Yeah.
If they come near our border, they have to absolutely be blown away. We have to have
they're not going to come in like that. If they come in, they have their own tunnels. They still have the tunnels, though, Jay. The ones that are dug from Mexico into America. Those tunnels are used to move cartel drugs. That's how they get in. That's how they get into America.
Well, how many of them are already here, Jack? Because of
at least 1,000. At least 1,000.
But minimum, probably because of Biden over the last 4 years of Biden, right?
That's the ones they tracked. I'm talking about actual cartel members. There's at least 1,000 in America right now.
Well, Mexico's military. Listen, you guys can't find these guys with these armored vehicles and blow them away. You can't do it. They don't have the technology. They don't have the wherewithal.
Firepower to beat the cartel. People don't realize that the cartels have power that even the Mexican military can't do. But Jay, real quick.
It's going to be up to us, Jack. Is it going to be up to us?
It might be. But let me tell you, we've only got a couple minutes left, so we got to switch subjects real quick. I got to tell everybody. And you got to be, this is another thing you got to worry about. Russia is actually talking about nuclear war. They warned of nuclear war, Jay. This is 100% real. This is not a joke. I'm trying to find it right now. Here it is. Okay. Russia has warned of nuclear war, and I want you to take a look at this thing right here. I'm going to pull it up. All right. And apparently what's going on is Dmitry Medvedev, who is the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, issued a warning that Russia would use non-strategic nuclear weapons against Ukraine and possibly the UK and France if Western nuclear technology is transferred to Kiev in Ukraine. And that's comes from TASS, which is a Russian station. Okay. What they're saying is that the US is actually going to transfer nuclear technology or weapons to Ukraine. Not giving them to Ukraine, but bringing them to an American base in Ukraine. That is exactly why Russia does not want Ukraine in NATO, because they don't want nuclear weapons right next to them. But I want you to take a look at this. This is real right here, by the way. I'm going to show you what a non-strategic nuclear weapon looks like. Take a look at this. Look at that energy. Boom! Look at that. Oh my God. Jesus. Do you see that energy? Look, it goes out like a circle. Look at that. Whoosh. Oh my God. That is unbelievable, Jay. And that is what they are threatening the US and the UK with if we do this transfer of nuclear weapons to Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, Medvedev's a saber rattler. He's kind of like,
but this is no joke.
No, it's not a joke. If it, God forbid, they ever do go through with it. Do I think they will?
It's the whole reason they didn't want Ukraine and NATO. If
I
we
get it.
give them, what if we give them that? That's like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I get it. Well, you just brought up Cuba. I was going to say, we don't want Cuba. We don't want Russian nuclear weapons in Cuba. Of course, we don't. They wouldn't want that right next to them either. Of course. Well,
So what if they attack us like we did Iran? Just a couple of things, but they used a nuclear, non-strategic nuclear weapon just to bomb a city in America, just as a war.
No, I don't see it, Jack. I just don't, because then the response would have to be overwhelming. We know what that means.
It would, but I would just keep my eyes open.
Yeah, no, listen, you have to always. But what Medvedev is kind of, like I said, he is a saber rattler. Keep that in mind. But of course, you take stuff like that seriously. You have to, and it has to be addressed, and it has to be addressed accordingly.
But see, they don't want U.S. to bring nuclear weapons to Kiev in Ukraine. And I can understand that. We don't want Russia to do it in Cuba, like you said. So why would we do it to them if we do that? That's the whole reason for this war, because they don't want Ukraine and NATO. That's the reason for this war. So if we bring weapons over there anyway, I do believe they might actually do it as a warning.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's see what happens. We're still on watch, and you have to watch it, of course. But that's one hell of a way to end the show, man.
Absolutely. Just
am I going to sleep tonight?
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody, just keep your eyes open for the cartel and for Russian bombs. It seems like we're back in the 1940s, with air raids and shit. We're gonna start having to have air raid sirens for everybody. That's what we're gonna do. But I think we've solved all the problems we can for one day, Jay. For Jay Gatling, I am Jack Danger. Thank you for watching Secret America.
You've been listening to Secret America.